Hello, and welcome to JP Murray's Association Hustle Podcast. President of the Murray Company, JP's mission is to arm today's associations with insight and strategy to thrive in a progressively complex and competitive business landscape. 21st century associations must move forward with a little bit of hustle and revenue development at their core. Here's JP.
Today's podcast is really in two sections. I want to talk first about something that I learned from another podcast and I'm applying it to associations. And then the second is how to launch a new sales project, maybe a new prospectus, maybe a new membership category. Got some thoughts on how to do that. First, what I learned from a podcast that I listened to just this week. I have 5 podcasts that I listen to on a regular basis, almost daily or weekly, depending upon the frequency of that podcast. One is the Gary Vee Audio Experience about branding and entrepreneurship and hustle. To Sell or Die by Jeffrey Gitomer. Man, the guy is hilarious and he's great on sales tactics. Man, even if you're not in sales, I'd listen to it because it's awesome. Marshall Pruitt's podcast talks about IndyCar racing, and you know I love my fast cars. In the Circle is about fastpitch softball, but you know what else I learned about it? I work with a lot of ladies in our office, and I value their opinions so much. And by listening to that fastpitch softball podcast, I learn a lot about how to communicate and work with some of the leading women in the industry. But today, the example is Tim Ferriss. He has 2 podcasts. One is The Tim Ferriss Show, which is about an hour long plus usually. The other one is Tim Ferriss Tool of Titans, which is based on his book. And he breaks down every chapter. The chapter that really popped with me this week was with Jocko Willink. Jocko is a Navy SEAL instructor, and just general badass of the world. One of the points that he makes is discipline equals freedom. And for us as association execs, I identified 4 discipline areas that I think if you hit on, more often than not, you're going to be successful in the long term. Discipline number 1, member first or prospect first. Their needs, their objectives always trumps your pitch or what the association has to say. We spend so much time talking about us, we're not thinking about them. Discipline number 2 is prospecting. A certain amount of time and activity each week on people or companies that you have never done business with. Time each week on prospecting, which brings me right into number 3. Discipline number 3 is renewal. It's never a waste of time or money to develop intentional process on keeping a current customer, a current member, a current sponsor by identifying what they need, staying in touch with them, watching what they're doing in the marketplace. Their desires and needs with you may change, but if you're not paying attention to it and you don't develop a discipline to revisit, you may lose them in the long term. And discipline number 4, action as a strategy. Hey folks, if you can take unbelievable amount of action in the association game, you're going to beat 90% of the people. I see it in sales. I see it in consulting projects. If you perform a lot of action and do it with a certain amount of speed and velocity, you're going to wow your members and your customers. Discipline equals freedom. For you and your association role or your small business role, what disciplines do you need? The second thing I want to talk about today is I had this question in one of our sales meetings. Hey, I've got to launch a new sales program in membership or sponsorship that we've never sold before. How do I do it? Here are some thoughts for you. Step number 1 is really plan a sequence of events or information distribution. Here's why I think about the planning of the distribution of content first is because selling a whole new program could be overwhelming to you, and this breaks it up into little chunks. The second thing, develop a no-brainer offer or incredible incentive for people to buy. Even if they're remotely interested, they're going to listen. Number 3, segment and build out an incredible kick-ass list. Too many times we fail because we're in such a rush to get product out the door and to start pitching people that we forget who we're really sending this to. Are they the right individuals? And is their information accurate? Number 4, educate the list about the offer and the incentive. Why? Well, first of all, it's educational. the prospect may learn from it, and you establish credibility along the process. So now you're the linchpin of this new program and what it's all about. Seen this play itself out really successfully in launching new sponsor prospectuses by webinar, where you actually walk them through all the new inventory that you have. Step number 5, limit the time frame of the offer. Actually, it's not an incentive or a no-brainer offer if it's available forever, man. You got to kind of narrow it down, okay? And then step number 6, then launch it again with maybe a different sequence, a different offer to a different list with a different time frame, and do that over and over again. That's how you launch and sell a new sponsorship program, a new membership category, a new membership due structure, whatever it might be. Hey, I hope these 2 very different stories are helpful to you, and I'm so grateful that you would listen. Man, share it with somebody. I sure would be grateful. Best wishes. See you next time on the Association Hustle.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of J.P. Murray's Association Hustle podcast. We'd love to connect with you. Check out our blogs at murraycompany.com and subscribe to our weekly newsletter. You can also connect with JP on LinkedIn and Twitter at JP Murray, as well as the Murray Company's Instagram and Facebook page. To purchase a copy of JP's book, Association Hustle, Top Strategies for Association Growth, go to jpmurray.com.